Okay, so as we covered conditional statements in previous two classes, like syntax along with the few examples, okay, but we'll cover more examples once we complete the collections topic so that we can experiment using conditional loops with the collection combination, okay. Today, I'm going to be covering looping statements, okay, so which is also very important topic in the Python, okay, because to write any logic with respect to Python, in Python programming, if you want to run any logic or any block of code repeatedly, then we may use the looping statements. So simple example I will tell you. Like example, you want to print hello world 10 times, or you want to print the product information 20 times or 30 times, or you want to print the data which is there in the database table on the UI. Like example, in the table we have some 100 records, and that 100 records you want to display on the UI page, or you want to search that whether some user is there in the respective database or not. In these all aspects, we need to keep on do the same action again and again. So in this case, instead of writing the logic multiple times, we can execute the same logic multiple times using this looping statements. So the looping statements, the primary purpose is repeating the same logic multiple times, okay. So these loops, we have two types in Python. One is while loop, another one is for loop, okay. So when we don't know the exact number of iterations, whether we want to repeat for 10 times or 20 times or 30 times, we don't know exact number, but we know that there will be a repetition, but what is the exact number, I'm not sure. So in that case, we will use the while loop. So generally, while loop we will use condition based. Okay, it's a purely condition based, as like if condition, and we may use when we are not sure about number of iterations. So number of execution times. Okay, so then we may go for while loop. And coming to the for loop, it's purely number based. I can say the count based. I can say that. Okay, so it's not condition; it's a count based. So if we know the exact number of iterations, like example, 10 times I want to run the logic, 20 times I want to run the logic. So if you know the number of iterations, then we can go with for loop. So as I mentioned earlier also, in Python, we don't have different types of loops, like example, while and do while, for each, for loop. We don't have such kind of straightforward. We have two things, while and for, that's it. While for conditional based, for count based. If you know the exact number, go for loop. If you don't know the exact number, go with while loop. So this is how the loops is two types of loops we may categorized into the logic wise. Okay, but as I mentioned, so what is the purpose of looping statements? To repeat the same logic again and again. Okay, so to repeat the logic or block of code again and again. Okay, so when we want to repeatedly run the same code again and again, we may use the looping statements. Okay, so any doubt till this point? Any questions or any doubt till this point?
No, sir.
Good, perfect.
Yes.
So then, yeah, then we'll go for syntax. Okay, first we'll go with the while loop syntax. While loop. So the syntax is very quite similar to your if else only. So how we will write that syntax, if you know the, if you recollect. So how we written if condition and followed by else block, right? This is the standard syntax. Same syntax for while loop also. The only difference, if condition either true or false, it will execute only one time. Either it may be true or false. One block will execute one time. But while will execute till the condition fails. So the syntax will be while condition, as I mentioned already, while is a condition based condition, and then write your lines of code, whatever you want to repeatedly run, and finally we have else block. And this is something new in the Python. In Java and C language, we don't have else block for the loops. It may be for loop or while loop, but in Python we have also else block for the while. Okay, but see, if you see, quite similar to if you replace with while with if, that is a if condition. So how this execution will happen now? First, it will check the condition. If the condition is satisfied or the condition is true, the lines of code what we have in the while will execute, and again it will go to the condition. Again it will verify that whether it is a true or false, and if it is true, it will execute. Likewise, till this condition fails, okay, whatever I mentioned here, the condition beside the while keyword, till that condition fails, this loop will execute. Okay, loop will execute means how many times the loop will execute? I'm not sure. Till that condition should fail. I mean to say, based on the condition, just keep on checking. Whenever the condition fails, then only the loop will be terminated. But till that time, the loop keep on repeating and the logic will keep on executing. Okay, so till the condition fail, loop will execute always. Loop executes. Okay, yeah, fine. And as we know, once the condition fail, it will go to the else block. And this else block is also optional block. That means it's not mandatory that every time we should write the else block. It is optional. If you really require, you can write it down. Otherwise, you don't require to write the else block. So here else block is optional block. Okay, else block is optional one. So we may write, we may not write. But if you write the else block, how it will execute when the condition fail, the pointer, what do you call it? The cursor will move to the else block and the lines what we have in the else block will execute. And till the condition fail, the while will keep on repeating. Okay, so this is how the execution will be happen for the loop. And if you go to the simple example, and also if you want to what we call flow chart wise, just I will show you the simple flow chart also for this. Okay, like how it will execute. Okay, last example. One second. Oh, 1 second. Okay, so now how this will execute? First, it will come to the loop. Okay, and it will check the condition. So this block for condition, your condition. Okay, if condition satisfied, yes. Okay, it's satisfied. It will run some block. Okay, it will run the some code of lines whatever we have here. If condition satisfied, it will execute, and again it will come back to the respective loop for condition checking. Again it will check the condition. Okay, so likewise the loop will execute. It looks like a circle, it looks like a loop. That's why we call it the looping statement. And if condition at any time, sometime the condition will get failed by that time, so no, condition not satisfied. In this case, it will go to the else block and the loop will terminate. So this is the else block. By this, the loop will be terminated. Okay. So likewise, the while loop will be get executed. Okay. So that's why we call it the looping statements. Okay. And now we'll go with syntax. So now, sorry, example. Let's take example. I want to print the very simple example. Even numbers till from 1 to 20, assume that. Okay, I want to print the even numbers from 1 to 20. So now in this case, the starting value will be I equal to 1. Now while the end value will be I less than or equal to 20, because we are asking to check the print the even numbers till the 20. So I given the condition as I less than or equal to 20, and every time the I value I need to check whether it is a even or not, because I want to print only even numbers. So as you know, I even number means that should divisible by 2. So I percentile 2 equal 0. Here the percentile operator called modulus operator, and it will give the remainder. So if any number divided by 0 and if it's returning the modulus as 0, then it's meaning that it is a successfully divided by 2. So that indicating it's a even number. So now I'm printing the I value. So now finally I'm not writing any else block. Now how the output will be executed, we'll see. First, what is the I value? 1. Now is it 1 less than or equal to 20? Yes, it is less than 20. So now it will go internally while loop. So now is it 1 percentile 2 equal to 0? No. So it won't execute. Okay. So it won't print the value. Now again it will go to the condition. Still, what is I value now? Still it is I value 1 only. So if you write the logic like this, it will leads to infinite loop, because we initialize the value, we are checking the condition, but we are not either increment or decrement the value, because in while loop for every iteration we have to increment or decrement, right? So that we have to do I equal to I plus 1. Okay, I equal to I plus 1. Now you see, now once the value bypass, now I equal to I plus, so initially I value 1, now it will be 1 equal to 1 plus 1, that is 2. Now I value will be 2. Now again it will go back to the condition. Now is it 2 less than or equal to 20? Yes. If 2 percentile 2 equal 0, yes, of course. So now it will print the value called 2. So now the output will be first started with 2. Okay. Now 2 equal to 2 plus 1, 3. Now again the condition will check 3 less than or equal to 20. No. Sorry. Yes. So is it 3 percentile 2 equal to 0? No. Again 3 equal to 3 plus 1, 4. So likewise it will print 4, 6 till the assume that 18. Okay. Now let's assume that we got 18. So 18 equal to plus 1, 19. It won't print definitely because it's not even number. Now 19 plus 1, 20. 20 less than or equal to 20. Yes, it is not less than, but it is equal to 20 because we have written double condition, less than or equal to. So now 20 percentile 2 equal 0. Yes. So now it will print the 20. Now 20 equal 20 plus 1. So now come back to here. So now 21, is it less than 20? No. Is it equal to 20? That is also no. So that means the loop by this point, whenever we reach the 20, this particular block will terminate and the code will come out of this loop. Let's take example. If we have something like print, it's done. Assume that. Now finally, after 20, you will get it's done. Okay. And last example, you want output something similar to in the same line. It's not like you don't want to print in the same line, then we can give print I end is equal to some space we can give. Now this end operator will help you to keep the content in the same line as shown in the output. Okay. So likewise the while loop will execute in the Python. Okay. And syntax will be similar to if condition. Colon should be indicating block, and within the while you have to give the tab space to write the code, and after that once the loop code completed, you can come out of the loop to make it separate indentation. Okay. So this is the structure and the mechanism of while loop. So anybody have any doubt, please ask me. If not, we'll go with for loop. So any doubt till this point?
No, sir.
Good. So now the next one, as we know, for loop. Okay. But to understand the for loop, we need to understand before this one inbuilt function called range. Okay. A range is an inbuilt function which will give you a series of values, like a kind of it returns the a range object are called generator object. So generally which will give you a set of values from minimum to maximum. Okay. So this range function will take the three arguments, three integers as an arguments. Okay. So let's take example here. I'm taking start, comma, end, comma, step. So totally these three arguments and all are optional here. Okay. At least one is mandatory, but remaining two are optional. So how the arguments will work, we'll understand. Then we'll go with for loop. Okay. So first thing, if I'm writing simply range of, okay, 5. Okay. What is the output? Remember, range will return the range object, but I'm to showcase you to make it simplified, I'm displaying list, but it internally have the generator object only, not the list. Okay. So here, if I'm giving range of 5, the output will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So by this, you can understand always range, whatever the max value we are indicating, before that value will stop the generation. That means if I'm giving range of 100, the last value will be 99 only. If I'm giving range of 6, the last value will be 5. So likewise, you have to remember, whenever you want 1 to 10, then you should give 1 to 11 in the range function, because it will stop before that value. Okay. And similarly, for example, if I'm giving range of 1, 5, now what is the output means? Now it is, see, if I'm having only one value, it will consider that is a end value. Okay. That will consider end value. So here in this case, I'm writing C and sorry, in this case, start will be always 0 and end will be given value, end will be okay, given value, and step will be 1, step will be plus 1 if you have the only one argument. If you have the two arguments, like in this case, if you see 1 comma 5, so in this case, start will be given value, that is 1, okay, end will be given value, that is 5, and step we didn't given, but it will take as a plus 1. So now in this case, 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 it will come, because as we know, even though we given the 1, it doesn't include the 5, because always end value will be minus 1 only, okay. But sir, if I want to 1 to 5 how to give, then we can write range of 1 comma 6. Now you will get the output of 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5, okay. And the last one, stepper also you can change. Let's take a given 1 comma 10 comma a given 2. So it means now each time it will increment the value by 2. So plus 2 it is indicating. So 1 comma 3, sorry, 1 plus 2 3, 3 plus 2 5, 5 plus 2 7, 7 plus 2 9, 9 plus 2 11, but it is exceeding the 10 now. So that's why it will stop by 9 only. And similarly, you can also give the negative values also. Let's take a decremental loop. 5 comma I given minus 1 and decremental value given minus 1. So now your output will be, see, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We given minus 1. So before the value, what is the value? It is a 0. So till the 0 it will there. And each time how much we are decrementing? Minus 1. For example, if I'm giving minus 2 here, then it will be 5, 3, and after that 1 only. It won't be other values. Same example, if I'm giving, let's take range of 5 comma minus 1 comma minus 2 if I'm giving, then your output will be 5 comma 3 comma 1 only. So these are the different what do you call combination of inputs we can give to the range. But ultimately, wherever you require to generate a kind of series of values like this, we can use this range function, and it is an inbuilt function in the Python. Okay. Any doubt in the range function? Any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay, good. And now we'll go with for loop syntax. Okay, for loop syntax. So now how the for loop will work in Python? It's not like for I equal to 1, I less than, that syntax won't be there in the Python. Simply it will follow the for each kind of concept. So for value in, we can write some collection, and now we can write whatever the code we have. Here we don't have initialization or incremental or decrement value, okay, because as I mentioned earlier, the for loop will work based on the number of iterations rather than condition. So here in the collection, you can specify what are the number of times you want to repeat for that loop. So that based on that collection, the loop will execute. Example, if I'm giving for v in square bracket 1 comma 2 comma 3, okay. So now if I'm writing print hello, just simple example, I'm writing print hello comma I, okay. So now what is your output sub means? This is a collection. As we know already, it is a list. So how many values we have in the list? Totally 3 values are there. So that means this loop will execute 3 times because we have 3 values, and clearly we are indicating that is a collection of 3 values. So that's why the loop will execute only 3 times straight away. And each time the v will be getting 1 value from the respective collection. For example, in this case, first v will be 1, and second v will be 2, and third time v will be 3. Likewise, the sequence of the values, however it is in the list, the same sequence the value will assign to the v, and that will be processed for the loop. Like in this example, now your output will be hello 1 and hello 2 and hello 3. So likewise, the for loop will execute straight execution. It doesn't check any condition, nothing. Simply how many values we have in the collection, that many times it will execute, and it will pick each value from the collection for 1 time. So for loop syntax is clear. It doesn't have an incremental, decremental, initial, nothing like that. It straight away work on the collection. Any doubt till this point? And as I mentioned, for this also we have an optional block called else block. For also we can write the else. Again, it is an optional block, And also if for loop completes, then it will go to the else block. That means in this case 1 2 3 completed, then it will go for the else block if it is having the else, otherwise it won't execute anything. Okay, I hope you understand by this till this time. And now coming to the our range case. Okay, now you see 1 2 3 is fine, we written manually, okay, but let's assume that the same loop I want to run for 100 times. So just imagine that if I want to run the loop for 100 times, means you should write 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5 till the 100. It's very difficult to write entire collection as a manual numbers, right? So that's why we are using range. So now in this case, let's take example, if I want to print same thing 100 times, simply you can write for v in or for I in range of 100 times, means you can write either 100 directly, this is the one way of writing, or else you can write 1 comma 101. This is also another way. So any of thing okay to print the 100 times. Now if you print the I value, so it will print now 1 to 100. Now your output will be 1 to so on 100. So that's why range is very crucial for loop. So instead of writing the collection manually, we can use the range function to generate that required number of values as like this. Okay. So now the range can work with as like you, like as I mentioned, we have different options. So with these all these options, you can generate the incremental loop or decremental loop, or you can step up with multiple values. So that all combinations you can play around the with range function with for loop. That is the advantage of range function. But if manually means definitely it takes some time. So but if the already collection is available, like example, just before I took an example, we have database 100 records. In that time we don't require to range because already data is there. So from that data you can iterate. Now in that case, for value in the db records, so then automatically how many records in the db? 100 records. Then loop will be executed 100 times. Like example, simply I'm writing for data in db underscore records, assume that, and do some action, I'm telling. So now what happened? How many? It's not like 1 or 2 or 100. How many records we have in the db, that many times this loop will be executed. So you don't require to write even range also in this case, because we have already data existing. Using the data we can use it. So the like first one, static collection we can use, range function we can use, and we can use also existing object or existing data also we can use the for loop. But in all these cases, one clear cut point is, yes, we know that how many times that loop should execute. You don't require to check the condition, you don't require to wait for some value to generate. So initially only we know that how many times the loop will execute, loop is executing, and we know that when it is stopping. So in that situation we'll go with the for loop. So this is all about the for loop. Any doubt till this point?
No, sir.
Great. So just maybe take 1 minute of time and just recover all the points what we covered till the point. If all are clear, then I can start two keywords for today. Like one is we have continue, another one break. So these two keywords I will explain, and I will close the session, and we'll cover examples more on these looping statements tomorrow. Just recover yourself, and if you got any doubt, ask me. Okay, so I'm going for next point. Shall we continue?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so in looping statements, generally we may use the two keywords continue and break. Okay, so the name itself is telling break is used to terminate the loop execution. Okay, and continue is used to terminate the one flow execution or one iteration, not the complete loop, one iteration in the loop. Okay. For example, while you're executing the code, you want to skip the only for particular one instance, then we can use the continue. But if you want to terminate completely loop itself, then we can use the break. A simple example I can take for I in range of 1 comma, let's take, I'm writing 6. Okay. And here I'm writing if I equal to 3, then I'm writing continue, else I'm printing I value. Okay. So now in this case, what's happened, So anyway, we know that 1 comma 6 means the outer loop will execute definitely 5 times. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 outer loop. But what is the output we'll get? We'll see. Now initial I value will be 1. Is checking that is it equal to 3? No, 1 is not equal to 3. So continue won't execute. So it will execute the print statement. Now it will be 1. Similarly, 2 will execute. But when I value becomes 3, now I equal to, we are checking the condition, I equal 3. Yes, it is 3. So now the continue got executed. As I mentioned, when continue execute, it will skip the iteration. That means that particular iteration will bypass and will go to the directly for main line of execution. That means it won't print the 3. So directly will go to the 4 and 5. That is the main what you call functionality of the continue. So whenever you are writing continue in any looping statements, by that instance the condition when satisfied internally, automatically at that instance the continue will bypass the execution. And remember, if I'm forgot to write this if condition, if I'm writing directly for loop within the for loop continue, then what happen, every time it will skip the execution, and which becomes equivalent to the break statement, because if there is no condition means every time will come into the loop and will bypass the loop. That's why it won't execute even one time also. And same example, if you are writing with break syntax, same example, break. Okay. Now, as I mentioned, whenever 1, 2 will execute and getting the output, then whenever I value reaching the 3, the break get executed, right? So by this time, it doesn't even skip the one line, it will skip the complete loop. So this loop will be stopped. So that means whenever any condition based or any situation you want to stop, sorry, the network disconnected. Is it okay? So till this point, any doubt? So I hope you understand the break and continue. So continue will only terminate the one iteration based on the condition, but break will terminate the complete loop. Okay. So this is the difference between continue and break. So any doubt till this point?
No, sir.
Okay, great then. Okay. So this is all about the looping statements which we have in the Python. So tomorrow we'll continue the examples on the looping statements. Okay. Bye bye. Take care then.